Do you want to learn effective ways to build relationships, generate sales, and grow your business from successful entrepreneurs, startups, and CEOs without listening to a long interview? If so, you've come to the right place. Gresham Harkless values your time and is ready to share with you precisely the information you're in search of. This is the I Am CEO podcast.
Hello. This is Gresh from the IAM299 podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Mark Sephton of author.Mark. Mark, it's awesome to have you on the show.
It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it as well. And what I want to do is just read a little bit more about Mark so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Mark is an international mentor to entrepreneurs, an acclaimed radio and TV show host, and a top-selling author. Mark is a regular contributor to Entrepreneur Magazine and speaks all over the world. Mark, are you ready to speak to the IAM299 community?
Born ready.
All right, let's do it. No better ready to be. So to kick everything off, I wanted to hear what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Well, I think, I'm a big believer that your gifting makes room for you. So I think some of the keys to success and establishing yourself in this thing called life is really just focusing on, I think, the natural things that you were given. And then we all have a responsibility to take what we've been given and get the best out of them. And so a lot of my story is around, I think, just the revelation of what I had in my hand and then being faithful with that. And I guess over circumstance and situation, and then a keen eye to develop the gifts that I have within me, I guess, in a short kind of storytelling way. That's kind of how it happened for me. My background was actually retail and hospitality, which is obviously lots of people facing, lots of experience, memory creating a theater experience. And I think just my love for people and developing, my love for problem solving and thinking outside the box kind of really frameworked my ability to then work, with entrepreneurs through my own understanding of business, through my grandparents who were very entrepreneurial, that kind of really shined the light on what that really means. And really the essence of any business or entrepreneurship is as simple as solving a problem. People say to me all the time, how do you make £1 million or $1 million? In some ways it's simple. You just got to find a solution that affects 1 million people. And there you've got it, but often we create something that provides a solution to a few hundred or a few thousand. But when you crack something that actually provides a solution that affects a lot of people, that's when it's scalable.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I love you for telling that, part of the story and about, how you got started. I find, and you might find the exact same thing, especially being a mentor, that a lot of times people have, or I guess there's noise around us that doesn't allow us to actually tap into what our innate abilities are, what our gifts are, even what that, £1 million opportunity might be. Sometimes we're looking at so many different other things that get distracted.
Yeah, I guess I'll share a couple of things of how I guess that it's helped me that would be helpful for the audience. I mean, the first thing is that I have this thing called Mark Monday, which is every Monday I kind of just take time for me. So I don't schedule client calls or mentoring sessions. I just take this time to read, reflect, to journal, to search my heart, to take regular readings of what it is that I want my life to represent. So that would be one part of a thought where people need to take regular time just to be. So that's something that we can all do in varying degrees. And then the other part, which I talk about all the time, which I call my 3 filters. And I use these, I call them my keys to the kingdom. So I use these 3 filters before I make a choice or a decision, and people can use these 3 filters themselves or they can create their own. The main thing is to have something that you're conscious about, and every opportunity, friendship, connection, project, you push them through your filters and then you decide on whether they're worth, you doing. So my 3 filters are simple. First one is, does this excite me? So, is it a relationship? Is it a friendship? Is it a project? Is it a business? Is it working with a client? Does this excite me? And if it does, then I proceed to my next question, my next filter, which is, am I good at this? I don't prescribe to the fake it till they make it. I'm a big believer in knowing who you are, accepting who you are, what you're good at, and being a master of it, and forgetting the rest. And then the third one is, will this take me to where I want to go? So I guess one of the things that I really help clients with is really focus in on what is it that they want their life to represent. Get that as clear as you can. What is it that you want people to remember you for? And then work backwards, and then make decisions based on, does this excite me? Does this play to my strengths? And will this take me to where I want to go? If you do those things, then actually you'll start being, the driver of your life rather than, just a passenger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the greatest opportunity that we all have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you for sharing that with us, because a lot of times you can get lost in the noise, or just, as you say, being a passenger, you don't realize that you do have control if you're able to, first of all, determine what the answers are to a lot of those questions that you have, those filters, and then also starting to implement that. So I wanted to ask you I know you touched on this a little bit, for exactly like, how do you serve the clients that you work with? I know you have a couple things that you're doing, and then also what you feel is kind of like your secret sauce and what makes you unique.
Yeah, I guess probably we'll tip into both of those questions with this answer. Mm-hmm. I believe in the power of reflection. So, after working with entrepreneurs for 3 years and reflecting on what are the conversations that I was having, what are the points of pain, what are the opportunities, where is the highest level of energy being manifest? And there was some common denominators, and I noticed there were 10 kind of fundamentals that represented a person's basic DNA. It doesn't really matter whether you're an entrepreneur or not. It's the same sort of 10 fundamentals that make a person a human being. And so what I did is I decided to create something that measured the health of each fundamental for every person I worked with. And what this would do is it would reveal blind spots, efficiencies, and deficiencies. It would look at your actions, your behaviors, your beliefs, and then it's through those findings that I was able to then tailor, make sessions in relation to what it is that the client really needs. I'm not someone who takes all my clients down the same path, because what may be an opportunity for you isn't an opportunity for somebody else. We're all beautifully and fearfully made. We're all unique. We all have our place. We all have a whole set of talents that really are to serve those around us as well as serve ourselves. And so for me, in terms of how I work, I'm not interested in making people into Mark Sephton. I'm really interested in making people into themselves to really maximize their opportunity, but not just to make a load of money, but also to actually do good with their influence, do good with their money, and really, I guess, shine a light forward, in terms of how we should live. Where are all the influential people? What are they doing for good? We need more and more men and women to stand up and take their wealth, their experience, their influence, and really educate and help this world, because, it is tough out there. And as much as there's good, there's also bad, and we've got to keep doing our thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of times, sometimes we forget, and I'm glad you definitely reminded us of that, because by being true to yourself and playing to your strengths and walking in your light and, driving, as we talked about before, you also are empowering people. So by you being, helping support those entrepreneurs and business owners, that definitely helps out a ton. But also just by you doing and being true to yourself, I think that also is kind of like a great reminder for all of us to let our light shine as well.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I love people. I love business. I love providing, solutions to problems. Mm-hmm. Everything for me is about how we conduct ourselves and how we are an expression of our beliefs. Our beliefs determine our behavior. So what we believe, then we act out of. And I like, to work with people who want to be more conscious and more intentional. And not just be all about their own agenda, but about really benefiting the community and the people that are closest to them, as well as, creating your own economy, which I think is one of the most exciting things about entrepreneurship. We live in such a volatile system where most of our governments are shot to pieces, and the economy is, so volatile, and the great thing about entrepreneurship is creating your own economy. So, it doesn't matter what's going on or who's leading the country as such, you know, because you've created something where you kind of you feed yourself, and then what a privilege it is to help other people feed from that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So definitely, privileged to be able to do that. And thank you for doing your part in that as well. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And this is an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
Right. Okay. I mean, I've shared a few things in terms of, taking time out, like Mark Monday. I believe the power of reflection is one of the keys to personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's your ability to be teachable, and to take those regular times to be critiqued as well. I always find it interesting being critiqued. That takes trust, and some people, they throw a load of stuff at you because they're jealous and actually because they want to hurt you. And then the other people actually want to see you grow, and keep you accountable.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I love those kind of hacks and nuggets, because a lot of times you need those certain things and that advice and that environment so that you can be successful. And just like you said, you have people that are on one side of the paradigm where they want to see you not succeed, and those that, just don't know how maybe to help you to succeed. So being able to surround yourself with the right people is definitely big. So now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on this show. So Mark, I wanted to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
I mean, when you think of CEO, you're thinking of someone who's really like the leader and the pinnacle of what they're about and what they're leading. So for me, it's very much being a CEO is someone who, is leading by example, who doesn't just talk the talk. Often, we have this misconception of leadership being, about all the fame and the spotlight and the prestige. And while there can be some of that, and we all want that when things are going well, but when things aren't, we probably want to hide away. But I think being a CEO is somebody who, lives a life of leadership, that it isn't just talk, but it is a way of life. It guides and it navigates others. It pushes other people forward, even to the detriment of our own progression.
I love that definition, and that definition from the heart was definitely spot on, because a lot of times your people's success is a reflection upon your success as well. So it's like you both kind of were up there on stage winning. So congratulations to you as well, if nobody said that. But I definitely appreciate your time. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic just to see if there's anything additional you want to let our readers and listeners know. And then, of course, how best they can get a hold of you, find out about everything you're doing, and, of course, get a copy of your book.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely love what I do. And we all only get one shot at this life. And, for me, I defined that influence was my driver. So if you look at the things that I do, I write for Entrepreneur, I write books, I speak on stage. I have a TV show called One More Round, which people can see on Apple TV and Roku. And then I mentor. And if you ask yourself the question, can Mark influence through these mediums? The answer is yes, which is fundamentally why I'm doing it. I think one of the things that actually isn't even mine, I came across it, but it just seemed to come to mind, and I think it's a really good thing to share. I think I came across it by, I think it was Daniel Priestley in his book Entrepreneur Revolution. Mm-hmm. And he shares about the Apple model, which I really like, because every business should do this. And I think this will be valuable because it's simple, but it is really valuable. So he was saying, Apple, they have kind of four kind of like ways to reach their market. They have iTunes, which is free. They have an iPod, which is a small amount of money. Then they have the iPhone or the iPad. And then they have the MacBook Pro, the AirBook, whatever. So in our business, we've got to find four things that represent that model. So the first one is, what are we giving away for free? So in relation to my business, it's my YouTube videos, or it's my quotes, my Instagram posts, whatever that looks like. My equivalent of my iPod is my book. The equivalent of my iPhone or my iPad is my mastermind. And then the equivalent of my MacBook Pro or my AirBook would be my one-to-one mentoring. And so if people can framework their business on those four, I think that's a real tight way of doing business, because some people won't be prepared to go and spend the air book if they've never heard from you. So build up that relationship by, offering something that is relatable and affordable. Educate people, give people what they want, and then educate them with what they need. I think that's really key. If you go to marksefton.com, though, I do need to change my whole website. Everything serves us for a while. I don't actually particularly like it. So that's something that I've got to focus my energy on moving forward. Sometimes we outgrow things, we've got to continue to reinvent ourselves, and I can't just do all the preaching. I've got to do the walking as well. People can find me at marksefton.com, and it's got links to all my social media channels, both Inside Job and Plot Twist. My books are on Amazon and they're available in Kindle paperback, and Inside Job's available on Audible as well. And then you have my TV show. I don't know if we can add a link to this, but if we can, then great. But if people just put in One More Round, Mark Sephton, they'll find it. But I'm open to converse, to engage, and really have enjoyed my time with you.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you, not just for your influence for this, short period of time, but all the influence that you're having as well, too, helping out, all these creatives, entrepreneurs, and business owners. So, Mark, I appreciate you again. Hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
You too. It's been awesome.
Thank you for listening to the I Am CEO podcast powered by Blue 16 Media. Tune in next time and visit us at IAM299.co. I Am CEO is not just a phrase, it's a community. Be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating. Grab CEO gear at www.ceogear.co. This has been the I Am CEO podcast with Gresham Harkless. Thank you for listening.